Welcome to the Voice of the Victim podcast. My name's Ryan.
And I'm Rosie.
How are you doing tonight, Rosie?
I'm good. I'm super fresh off the press because I don't know why I said that.
Because we just recorded last week's episode.
So I'm still in podcast mode. I'm trying to write a lot of outlines for the podcast.
That's so awesome.
Because I don't like us missing weeks. It really stresses me out, even though we've talked about it numerous times about only putting out ads or podcasts when we have ads. But I want to try to be more consistent than that.
Well, we don't have a choice those weeks.
Right.
Got to give Rosie complete 100% credit that the podcast is still alive.
Thank you so much for saying that.
I've been struggling to find time to do any research or writing with my other jobs being so busy. Rosie's been keeping it afloat, and
thank you.
I really appreciate it.
I mean, I might be a little bumpy here and there because I still feel like I'm trying to find my writing style, but thank you. So let's get back in there. Remember at the end of part 1, Amanda had just gotten home from the hospital. She had attempted suicide by drinking bleach. So obviously she's not doing very well. Her parents decided it was time to relocate and move to a new city in March of 2012. So they're trying to move on from the situation and again, just give Amanda a fresh start. However, every time Amanda would change schools or move, a cyberbully would create a new Facebook account under the disguise of someone new from the school.
And was it Tyler Boo again?
Yeah.
Probably.
He would gather the new information, including Amanda's classmates' information, and send out that topless photo to the whole school, including the staff. Now, for the second time, Amanda tried to take her life by means of an overdose. Her mental condition was crumbling. She was put on antidepressants and took part in some counseling sessions without any success. After being hospitalized for the suicide attempt and depression, Amanda started treatment and in-depth therapy for about 3 weeks. And Carol said that she seemed to be doing a lot better after this, and she felt like she was getting back on track. But again, once Amanda came home, she was welcomed with the new nickname, Psycho. The bullying was relentless, and nothing had really changed. An example of the types of comments she would receive on Facebook would be, "If you died, I would throw a party." So I don't know how you would make progress if these are the types of comments you are constantly seeing on the screen.
Dude, she needs to get off the internet.
I know. But remember, we talked about this. She's a young teen. She's literally so immersed.
It's not her fault.
She cannot get out of this rabbit hole.
Someone needs to step in and take her laptop away.
Still, Amanda tried to stay strong. There's a video of her with her friends, who I mentioned earlier, Shyla and Tessa. These 3 girls seemed happy. They were being silly and goofy, and Shyla and Tessa said it was one of Amanda's good days. It was one that they particularly remember having a good time with her. Now, Amanda told her mom that she was going to work on a project and didn't want to tell her mom what it was. She asked for black markers and all the white paper in the house. She worked on it for days and was so excited for her parents to see what it was. In September of 2012, Amanda was not leaving her house. She was suffering from severe anxiety and depression, and she was afraid of leaving her safe space.
What was the project?
Well, we'll get to that in a minute.
Okay.
So her parents were happy, like, yes, we will get you what you need, something that she can be creative again and exert some energy into. Now, no matter how scared she was of the outside world, she was still happy to make and post videos, releasing her creativity online. On October 1st, at this point, I also want to point out, she's 15. Amanda made a video of herself in her living room. She's wearing sweats and she's singing a song with what I'm assuming was a karaoke machine. A lot of her posted videos were her singing. October 2nd and 3rd, about the same thing. She made a couple of videos. This time it seemed to be some original songs. And then a little later in October 2012, Amanda made a video of herself explaining her never-ending story. This is what the paper and the black markers were used for. So it shows her from about maybe right under her nose to the bottom of her stomach, and she's holding paper, like a big stack of them, and they each have writing on them. It's about 9 minutes long. It's on YouTube, telling her viewers about the past few years of her life.
Should we watch it?
We can put a link to it on our episode. I mean, it is 9 minutes, so for people listening, it might be kind of long.
That's right.
But she just is moving a piece of paper out of the way every couple of seconds so you can read it. It says things. It started off with things like, I left the city. I'm constantly crying now. Every day I think, why am I still here? The last two pieces of paper said, I have nobody. I need someone. My name is Amanda Todd. The video I watched after the ending of the story showed an arm that was obviously cut with a knife next to it. I don't know if that was in the original or someone added that. It was very disturbing.
It's so sad that after all this, she's still seeking that validation and that company from the internet.
A lot of people assumed that this was like a suicide letter, but Carol and Norm said that it was completely the opposite. That Amanda wanted the world to know her struggles and how she was planning on overcoming them.
Yeah, that's part. I mean, that makes sense. That is part of being a creative person, is constantly struggling to feel understood.
Yeah.
And like, that's just one of the desires of a creative person, you know.
And also, Amanda said she wanted to let other people know that if they were going through similar situations, they weren't alone. The video was getting some positive feedback, and Amanda wrote online to a friend, "It's finally nice to see people care. My family and my mom are the ones trying to stay strong. I booked November 28th to get my Stay Strong tattoo on my wrist so that I can look at it and stop myself."
Oh, so that was the day after her birthday.
That would be when she's 16, so it's legal to get a tattoo.
Yeah. I mean, it is really cool. It's a creative way to express yourself. Like,
yeah,
that's really interesting that she put so much thought and creativity into this.
Yeah.
Like, I really think that's cool.
Yeah, and it's nice to see that she's proud of it. Like, she's happy with her work. She continued to type, "People call me crazy, but I'm just going to keep my head up." So I felt like, yay, you know, like,
yeah,
keep your head up.
Step in the right direction.
And I think she was referring to, she wanted to stop cutting. Like, if she saw her tattoo Stay Strong, then she would stop herself from cutting.
Yeah.
On October 10th, 2012, at around 6 p.m., Amanda's mom, Carol, came home. She found her daughter, Amanda, hanging. Amanda was only 15 years old when she took her life. She was in 10th grade at the Coquitlam Alternate Basic Education School. And this was such a shock to her mom. She thought she was making some progress, that she was doing better, especially with having some positive feedback from her video that she had just made and put out. But we won't really know what happened in that day, in those few hours that she wasn't doing so good.
There's no record of her being harassed more by that Tyler Boo person?
I mean, I'm assuming there is. There was some like webcam footage online a few hours before her death, but she didn't seem, I mean, she seemed okay. It didn't seem like there was anything too out of the ordinary.
This is one of those cases that's really gripping me because there's such a record of this person online that they've documented themselves. It's like the Shanann Watts. Remember?
Yeah.
Like, there were so many videos of her online
Right.
that I just fell into a rabbit hole while researching, and
Yeah.
I feel like this is also gripping like that because this person was so present on the internet, and there's still a record of them. Like, they will live on the internet now.
I remember that tattoo that she had talked to her friend about. Well, her dad, Norm, ended up getting this Stay Strong tattoo that Amanda was never able to get. And this is so sad. The ashes from Amanda were mixed with the ink that are in his arm. So he has "Stay Strong" in cursive on the underarm between his elbow and wrist, and then a big red heart at the end of the word "strong." And he proudly displayed it in his interview with big tears in his eyes. It was like so sad. So now we're going to talk about who's to blame and who the heck this Tyler Boo guy is. Do you know that weird group called Anonymous?
No.
They had made some weird...
Like a Facebook group or?
No, it's like a person that has this really creepy mask on, and they've like hacked some news.
Oh, yeah, the white mask.
Yeah, the white mask guy. Well, Anonymous had made a video claiming to know who was blackmailing Amanda Todd. It's super creepy, and I really don't know very much about this group or how credible it is, but I saw this video on YouTube, and like it was very, very strange. I don't know how much that had to do with this, and I just wanted to throw it out there that this video was made. But a worldwide investigation started scouring the internet looking for this mystery blackmailer. Facebook also was looking for this Tyler Boo guy. They had gotten numerous complaints about him. But Facebook found out that Tyler Boo, another guy, Austin Collins, and Alice McAllister were all the same person. Remember Alice McAllister, the person that messaged Carol, this weird...
Yeah, concerned.
Yeah, this fake Facebook group thing. But Facebook also announced that it would be very difficult to find the real person because he or she was highly skilled in identity obfuscation.
Obfuscation, yeah.
So, around the same time, a mystery man named Tyler C. was harassing a young teen girl in Norway. He had nude pictures of the girl, and he told her that you'll perform Skype shows or I'm going to make your life a living hell. The next day, he made a link to the photo and sent a link to all of her friends and family via Facebook. The girl's parents went to the police straight away, and the police contacted Skype, where they took Tyler C's IP address. Within days, they got it and found out that Tyler C. was located in the Netherlands, Holland. So does this seem like a connection to you? Because it definitely is.
It should.
And it made...
Tyler, 3-letter name.
Instead of...
Doing the same MO.
Yeah. Yeah. Instead of Boo, B, Tyler C. C. So the Dutch police were urged by the Norwegian police to open up a case on this Tyler Boo /C, who they linked to the name Aiden Coben. Aiden Coben is actually a real person, and he's in Holland, aka the Netherlands, aka Dutch police should handle this. Okay?
So, yeah.
So not even
who
Canada.
has this much free time to harass all these girls?
The Dutch police did not take this request with any urgency until Amanda Todd's suicide, because then they realized that they were connecting dots.
Now that it's
with
too
this guy.
late.
Yeah, and like you said, it's so frustrating. The Norwegian police had a lead on this guy, but they were just sitting on it, like not doing anything. This suicide could have been, or may have been, preventable if Dutch police would have listened to the Norwegian police and opened a case. At the same time, Canadian police could have done more too.
Yeah. In the past, I would have been like, how could something like this happen? Mm-hmm. But the way that's been for the past few years, it's just not even surprising anymore.
Yeah.
Everything is crap.
So, when the Dutch police did start investigating this case, they were able to trace the computer to a bungalow park south of Holland. So it just seems like it really happened fast once they did try. They were able to dig up a lot of information. So 35-year-old Aiden Coben from the Netherlands was arrested and held for 1 year in jail before going to court in February of 2015. Dutch authorities would not press charges on Coben for Amanda's case.
Why?
Because that was a Canadian case, like a way out of the country.
Oh my gosh.
But it made sense because Canada wanted to have their own court date with him. And him in Canada. Okay. So he
would be extradited.
Exactly.
After this.
And it didn't matter too much because he already had so many charges against him. He had countless other victims from the Netherlands. He was going to get in trouble. After a year being held in jail, because I guess in the Netherlands you can hold somebody in jail without having a court date set or anything. Like, doesn't count for their time.
Different justice system.
Coben wrote a lengthy letter to the public about how he was the wrong guy and he was being falsely accused and he was just a scapegoat for the government, and just like a very lengthy letter about how this was all bogus. Well, it turns out that Aiden had some 85 different accounts and 90 different screen names. He had about 75 victims worldwide, and that's just the ones that police were able to uncover. A spyware installed on the man's computer revealed some sort of database of prospective victims, photographs of child pornography, and chat logs related to sextortion.
So he must have been making some kind of living doing this, like with the black market or something.
This was his life. This was his life's work.
It's like he obviously put so much time into this. Mm-hmm. What a disgusting person.
Aiden Coben in the Netherlands was charged eventually with child pornography and indecent assault by the Dutch authorities. The RCMP, which was the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, Mounties, also declared that the man was charged with criminal harassment, internet allurement, extortion, and possessing and circulating child pornography. There was a trial of Aiden Coben. He was slapped with 72 charges of sexual assault and extortion.
Good.
It started in the Netherlands in February of 2017 and concluded on March 16th.
And this is all still in the Netherlands, like Canada?
Right.
Has Canada had anything charges yet?
From what I found in the research, he is in Canada, but there hasn't been like any
charges yet.
No. He was convicted on charges of blackmail and internet fraud in the Netherlands and sentenced to 10 years and 8 months in prison.
10 years?
I mean, technically 11 because it was 8 months.
After all that.
Yeah.
So he must be in prison then in Canada, awaiting their...
That's so...
This is like 9 years ago. How is there...
And it's so frustrating that I'm having such a hard time figuring this part out. Like, I just can't find that much information about the Canadian justice system and Coben, like what's going on with that.
Frustrating.
Remember I wanted to talk about that Daily Capper podcast?
Yeah.
This is wild. I had no idea that there were such terrible things out there. This thing is just disgusting. I found it on YouTube. It had been mentioned in a couple of like interviews and videos I watched on YouTube related to this case, just talking about other victims from sextortion. And I can't believe this thing hasn't been taken down yet.
It's still up?
Yeah, I looked it up on YouTube.
With all of the people getting deplatformed in the past year, and this is still up?
Yeah. So I'm gonna like give you guys a word picture of what it is. It's creepy. It's like this animated setting with a news desk, and then there's a animated news anchor with this woman, and she's like, well, animated looking, and she has wild red hair and like just stays in the same spot, but she has like this mouth that like juts open. You know those creepy mannequin dolls? What are those called?
Mannequins?
Like those dolls that you like, puppet dolls that you can move
that
their
was
mouths.
in Toy Story?
Yeah.
You mean when people do the voice without moving their mouth?
Yeah. Well, the mouth reminds me of that, where it's like ventriloquist. I was so
dummy.
Close. Yeah. So anyways, it's this fake woman with this creepy mouth, and then it's like one of those voices that's computer generated that sounds like a fake voice like this.
Oh, Uncanny Valley.
Very Uncanny Valley. And one of the videos that I watched, or one of the episodes, I guess, was the 2010 Capper Awards. So whoever made this fake award ceremony, pretty much just humiliating different girls that have been victimized by sextortion and letting other people know what these girls did, the awards that they are being voted for.
So it's an award show for victims of this sextortion.
Yeah. And this had been in 2010, and at the end, they were like, 5 minutes to cast your vote. Just sick. So gross.
They charge admission to this or something?
I don't have no idea.
Why would they do this?
They were giving different awards like the Cam Girl Awards, the Best Whore Cam Girl Award. And then also talking about different cyber predators who call themselves cappers, different awards for them. Like the capper that got the most wins, the capper that has the best blackmail. Just so messed up. And I actually found one that was all about Amanda Todd. It was a very short clip, so I'm guessing that the podcast has been taken down, but people have uploaded them again. I don't know how the heck it works.
Oh.
But that's what the Daily Capper is. It's really disgusting. So now I want to talk about the different names, the different terms. A capper is someone who tricks children, into committing sexual acts over live stream while screen capturing or recording the video. Some cappers will use the child's images or videos to extort them for more sexual images or money. This activity is highly targeted, relentless, and obviously very traumatic for the victim.
So exactly what Tyler Boo did.
Yeah.
Or Aiden, whatever his name is.
Yeah. Even more unsettling are the cappers who simply take the content without ever disclosing to the child that they have it, and then moving on to their next target, using the material to elevate their status by exchanging it with other cappers online.
Yeah, that's the weird part, is that this idiot literally exposed himself, like, by harassing her further, asking for these, I suppose, in their little world, getting that the private shows or whatever would be, a big deal. But
and that's what I was so sick about.
An idiot.
That little clip I was talking about from that podcast is it was letting other cappers know that she'd been blocked from this site, and she could be found on this site at this time, and it was just like really icky. The definition of sextortion is the practice of extorting money or sexual favors from someone by threatening to reveal evidence of their sexual activity. Obviously, it's a very serious crime that involves a perpetrator threatening to publish private or explicit information or material about you if you do not give in to their demands. So, if this is happening to you, this is what it is. It's worse. It's a bigger issue than cyberbullying in my eyes. That they're literally have a leash around your neck, controlling you. Perpetrators.
Well, I think it's all wrapped together in one package, because, like, the sextortions was one part of Amanda Todd's story, but the cyberbullying is what pushed her over the edge and took her life.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. Perpetrators use your fear against you to coerce you into paying them in exchange for not releasing your intimate photos, videos, or media. And just to summarize, this can happen to just about any child, teenage, younger boy or girl. If they're given these compliments and flattery by these cyber predators, they're pretty much manipulating them and grooming them. They'll say things like, you're so pretty and you're gorgeous, you're so talented, but then start sliding things in like, man, you'd be better looking if you showed a little more skin, or if only I could see just a little bit more of you. Really subtle but encouraging things. And teen girls or boys, given their age and lack of experience, are going to lap up this attention. It gives girls a huge confidence boost that they've never received before, and same for boys. Once the girl or boy gives the capper what they want, and the cappers have this blackmail to hold over their head to get more of what they want.
thinking back on Amanda's story here, it all goes back to that one split-second decision while on a live stream that all of this blackmail came from. Like, it's just so sad that this kid made one bad decision while she happened to be live streaming. And I'm sure that haunts the parents, like, that she ever got that webcam. And
Right.
ugh, it's so sad.
A few tips to avoid sextortion. And this is probably pretty important for parents to hear. Make sure that your children are setting their social media accounts to private and letting you know if they want to add or befriend someone new. Don't send compromising images of yourself to anybody, no matter how close you are to them. Don't open attachments from people that you don't know. And make sure that your electronic devices and web cameras are turned off when not in use. I know what we do usually is we'll put like a post-it note over our camera, even if it's off, just because things happen and people know how to hack into stuff.
Yeah. It's scary.
Be wary of unknown users who are trying to start a conversation with you on social media.
I mean, I just want to point out, like,
Yeah.
what we all carry around in our pocket every day.
Yeah.
That's got a camera on each side now, and there's no indicator light next to it to tell you when it's on.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, we already know that Siri's always listening, because every time you say something that sounds like, "Hey Siri," she says something.
So true. I hate that.
And of course, the one time I actually say, "Hey Siri," my phone doesn't respond.
Oh, my computer did.
Oh, from my voice? Well, anyway, it's weird.
So, if you feel like you are a victim of sextortion, a few tips are, firstly, not to panic. The first big step is to recognize that you are the victim in this and that you require support to help you go through what has happened.
Yeah.
Secondly, don't pay the capper. Don't give him what he wants or her. It's not going to change it. It's just going to keep the cycle moving.
I think I don't want to just gloss over that first thing, because I think that is one of the most important parts, is as adults, if we're dealing with a kid that is going through something like this, it's so important to communicate to them that this is not their fault, that they were taken advantage of. They shouldn't be ashamed of this, what has happened to them in this situation. Like, I wish someone would have been there telling Amanda that,
right,
you made one little mistake, but it's not your fault. This all happened. Like, you shouldn't be ashamed that this 35-year-old man took advantage of you. Yeah.
This 35-year-old man whose life's work is taking advantage of these children. Like, it's just disgusting. The next tip is consider getting support. Contact your local police force and report what's happening or happened to you, especially if you are struggling to cope with your current situation. And if you're under 18, speak to a trusted adult. And also you can get support from the CEOP, the Child Exploitation Online Protection Foundation, or organization, I should say. I also have some other links of professionals who can help. There's a couple of different services. Samaritans. Looks like you can talk to them at any time online. Get Safe Online. Skype advice on protecting yourself from blackmail. Think You Know are a few. I think this was a pretty important episode, and my reasoning is because since COVID has started, so many kids are going online for their entertainment. I mean, we do anyways. So COVID has just made it like even more crucial to go online on social media. There's been a huge spike in social media use, and it's important to know what's going on with your kids, and having an online presence on your child's social service or social media platform.
Mm-hmm. And this is why it's so important to communicate to, like I've talked about this a lot in the past, but for kids to know that there's an open communication and that if something like this happens to them, they can communicate honestly and openly with an adult, that, and there won't be any judgment or shame on them, because just being able to talk about this could have made such a big difference, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like right when this whole thing happened with someone trying to bully her into lifting up her shirt, like, anyway, this is why I always talk about how important it is to not lump shame into these kind of things, because it discourages open communication when something does happen.
Right. Yeah.
Because I know for a fact that when I was a kid, something like this would have happened, I would have never told my parents about it, because I would have been ashamed, you know? And I don't think that's healthy.
Right. Yeah, so that kind of wraps up part 2 of the Amanda Todd case. I think, well, just one more thing, making sure there are some safe and healthy boundaries in place and having conversations with the family, because you have to do extensive amount of learning to drive a car. You should have the same type of knowledge about the dangers of the internet and how to maneuver it. So that's that.
Oof, that was intense. Well, thank you for sharing this. It's just, it's heartbreaking. Especially since she was obviously a talented and creative person, and like she had so much promise to really contribute to the art community, and yet this whole thing just derailed her life.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Rosie.
You're welcome. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. This one felt a little bit bumpier than last week's, but I did try.
Oh, well, yeah. It was just the figuring out the age thing.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's why I never trust ages I see in articles. I always look for the birthday and then do the math.
That's pretty smart of you.
Based on the date. Because, you never know if news articles are going to be accurate.
Yeah. That's a good idea.
But anyway, I think you're doing a really good job with the outlines.
Thank you.
And I'm not just saying that. I said this before, but I'm not just saying that to get out of work. It's just
good.
This podcast was built around your passions, you know? So seeing you take more of a leading role in it is actually really cool.
Thank you.
So, yeah. All right. Well, thank you all so much for listening and or watching. And thank you to all our patrons for your support. If you're watching this before it comes out publicly, thank you so much. You really help us out a lot.
Yes, thank you guys.
I think that's all I have to say. So,
all right.
You good to go?
Yeah, I think we'll wrap this up.
All right. I'll talk to you next time.
Thanks, guys. Bye.